2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
How do I live day to day, but still visualize change for the future?
Welcome to the Real Talk Recovery Podcast with the Therapy Brothers.
We're brothers, we're therapists, and we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery. This is going to be a fun one today, Brannon, kind of figuring out this dichotomy between looking ahead and living one moment at a time.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's actually one of my favorite topics. So
I think there's so much power in it. We'll get into it in just a minute, but Brannon, we finally have set dates for the next Rising Sun conference.
Rising Sun, here we go again. This is exciting. So tell me if I'm wrong, Tyler, but the dates we got are the 15th, 16th, and 17th. No. Tell me if I'm wrong. That's what. Okay. 22nd, 23rd, 24th of September.
That's right. And we'll probably end on the 25th. So we actually are extending it by a night from the one we last did because it was just so jam-packed with information. We feel like we needed to do a little bit more. And it's going to be in Bear Lake, September 22nd through the 25th. For those who have already come.
I'm glad you're here, Tyler.
For those who've already come, you know what you're getting into. And we've already sold 5 spots. We haven't even advertised it yet. This is the first time we're advertising it. We've already sold 5 spots. So if you're interested, this is all about tapping into your whole heart as a man in recovery.
Yep. And the sooner you sign up, the better for you price-wise. So if you get on it, you get a big discount, like big discount. So go find us at risingsunconference.com. That's right. Rising Sun, SON conference.com. And you can sign up there and get one of those early bird spots so that you can get on our list.
Great.
Okay,
all right, Brannon.
Tyler.
So let's jump in with this for a second. This is kind of something that's going through my groups right now, some of my men's groups right now. And I wanted to just bring it up with you and maybe have a little discussion on it. I have introduced this idea of visualizing a future self and actually even doing some assignments and some documents around what that might look like in my future life. Things like, what do I want people to say about me when I'm gone and dead? And who do I see myself wanting to be? And who do I think God wants me to be? And there's all of this kind of looking forward stuff. And at the same time, it seems to contrast with what we teach day in and day out, which is, hey, just live one day at a time. Recovery is about being mindful and living one day at a time. And I'm hoping today that we can kind of open up the idea, kind of paint the picture of the dialectic that's here between living in the moment one day at a time and also having a view for the future and why that's so beneficial.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's really important to understand this paradox that we talk about today in order to find real inner peace. Because I think a desire to become is okay, is good.
It's built into us, I think, as human beings.
Yep. And there's I think we need to not mistake the difference between visualizing and manifesting something in our life and beating ourselves up and shaming ourselves, saying we should be different and not accepting what's happening today in the present moment and who we are. Those are two very different things that a person does. And sometimes they feel like the same thing because it's like, well, I'm just trying to think about how I should change and why I should change and why things should be different. That's very different than visualizing and manifesting something in your life.
Okay, so let me give an example of this, and then let's get into like maybe how those differences play out. I introduced this assignment. It's based off of, for anyone who's seen, like Brannon, you've seen like that kind of cheesy Christian movie, Courageous.
I've seen all the cheesy Christian movies.
Things. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. that one's about as cheesy as it gets.
Yeah, it's phenomenal though.
They're just trying so hard to get you to cry. And I'm sure it worked on you.
It doesn't take much to get me to cry, Brannon. So yeah, you're probably right. I think the first time I did probably shed a tear or two. But okay, so the premise of that movie is based off of a book called The Resolution for Men. It's a Christian book for men about how to become better men. And the essence of the book is that you end up developing this sort of like personal mission statement of who you intend to be as a man, like who you want to be as a man. And I introduced this, and I actually read my own resolution to my group, and the one that I made a few years ago for myself. And when I read it, I got all sorts of feedback from it. And one of the pieces of feedback that came through was, I feel completely overwhelmed at the prospect of developing something like this, because if I have it down on paper and it's in front of me and I'm not those things, it's going to paralyze me. I'm going to fail. I'm never going to be that guy. Like, I'm going to realize that I'm not that guy, and it's going to actually be demotivating for me. So that's kind of what you're getting at is that's the second part of what you were saying is, if I'm looking at this as these are all the things I should be, and I'm looking at it from like a fixed mindset, then looking to the future of who I want to be and how I visualize myself feels like it's actually feeding the wrong things versus the right things. So how do you start to make the distinction, and how do you tap into the power of visualization and looking forward instead of getting stuck in this place of paralysis because I'm not enough?
So two things are coming to my mind, Tyler, that are kind of, I'm trying to mix them together here a little bit. In the book Atomic Habits, he talks about how when you start change, when you start in on a new habit, you actually have to wade through this disappointment for a while. So, for example, if I want to be really physically fit, I go to the gym and I work out and nothing happens, right? So, I mean, except for I get sore, and that's about it. I get sore and my gut remains, but I just did a really hard workout. And I have to do that over and over and over consistently for a while. And it feels like, what's the point? I'm failing. I'm not losing the weight that I want. I'm not getting in the shape that I want. And at some point, it starts to turn a little bit, where if I'm consistent in that habit over and over and over again, I then start to get the results that I want and manifest the things that I want, the things that I desire in my life. Now, here's the problem with this whole thing: is when you come to this whole thing from a place of should and shame, When you step into that disappointment, then there's all the evidence that you're broken and that you're not enough. Your inner critic goes crazy in that space. Just look, see, you'll never do it. You'll never stay consistent. See, you missed yesterday. You should have eaten better yesterday. You should have been more spiritual. You should have done this. See, you failed. See, you're just going to fail. And when that's in your head over and over and over again, then what are you actually going to manifest? What do you actually believe?
Well, you actually start to prove yourself right.
Yeah. So all these goals just create evidence of that faulty core belief deep down that says you'll never do this. You can't do this. You'll fail. So then when somebody sees a resolution like yours, Tyler, they look at it and they say, well, yikes. Yikes. If I plaster that up and we can see that, I can see that myself, that will just be that's like blatant evidence of what a failure I am. Right?
Right.
And so the issue here is not wanting to write down, your vision for your life, or the issue is actually underneath that. The issue is that inner critic that actually believes something about yourself that is really getting in the way of manifesting what you want in your life.
It's actually agreeing with the belief that's already hardwired in there that you'll never actually be able to attain or achieve whatever you might put on the page.
Right. And so whether you write a resolution or goals or this or that or do all of that stuff, you'll continue to create the same failures and the same lack of change in your life. Right. So what really needs to shift is not necessarily the setting of goals. It's not that can come later. But Tyler, what really does need to shift?
It sounds like what needs to shift is the perspective with which you're going to look at any assignment like that. So I need to actually move from. So maybe this is one of the first suggestions that you might make when you're starting to visualize and look towards the future is that you see it from a lens. You try to work really hard to see it from a lens of process instead of the need for perfection.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can look at that and I can put all those things out in front of me and say, this is who I want to become, or this is where I see myself going, and this is what I want my life to look like. And I'm currently in this space and I'm a work in progress. So if I can go to work on seeing myself as a continual work in progress, and I believe I'm going to see myself that way for the rest of my life, now I can put anything out there in front of me and go, oh, I could work towards that. Who knows how long it'll take? I'm a work in progress. I get to go to work on that instead of being fixed in it and going like, oh, that's not who I am. Like, I'll never be that guy.
So Tyler, there's a real kind of problem, I think, with our culture and with the ways that we're raised, both like in a religious setting, but also just as an American. And this is what we're kind of fed. We're fed that, you're born and then you start to check off the list of things that you're supposed to achieve and get. So you walk this path and you work your way toward things. So, okay, I first go to school and I need to get good grades and I need to graduate elementary school, junior high, then high school, then college. So now I'm working toward that graduation. And along the way, I need to pick up a spouse, like that needs to happen. And I get married and then I get a house, then I get a white picket fence, then I get a fancy car, then I do this, then I do. So that there's all these things that we are supposed to do. You see it in Disney movies from really our generation is, I have a challenge. I work through that. I marry a prince or a princess. I get a castle on the hill and I live happily ever after. And that's the way that life works. This is a huge setup. It's a huge setup for living a life full of expectation,
shoulds,
and not a life full of gratitude. And we're in that thinking, we're constantly saying, "What's next? How do I earn it? How do I get there? How do I create that in my life?" Alan Watts, he's one of my favorite philosophers, just a really amazing thinker. And he talks about how it's interesting. Like maybe life isn't about getting to the end. Maybe it's not about achieving something. Maybe it's about dancing in the moment. And he talks about like a symphony. If someone's playing music, if the goal was to get to the end, then the conductor would just hurry through and get them done. But it's not. The goal is to just feel what you're feeling in that moment and to just be with that energy and that music. And it's beautiful, right?
That's awesome, Brannon. So you're starting to pull together this idea of the dialectic between being in the moment you're in, but also having a vision of the future. And one of the tools that you're recommending for that is gratitude.
Yes.
It's funny you mentioned this because I just was meeting with, Chase, he produces our show. I was meeting with Chase just earlier this week, and he said, Tyler, we have all these meetings about everything we're going to do, like everything. What's next? He said, could we just have a single meeting just to like pause and do nothing but express gratitude for where we've come from?
Yeah.
And experience gratitude for the things that we already have. And it sounds like a really good idea to do that.
I just this morning, Jenny's always wanted a pool. And she's like, I don't know if I need a pool anymore. She's like, I need to just stop and like, look what we have. We have 4 healthy kids. We have like this beautiful house and this, I mean, she said, it's weird. It's almost like we've already manifested all the things that we ever set out to manifest. It's already kind of happened. And now we're sitting here like, what now? What, and I was listening to her and I was thinking like, I was like, yes, like this is so good to hear rather than how can we get this? And how can we move forward with that? And what are we going to do next? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I was talking to a friend of mine at church this last week, and they were asking, like, we had been to girls' camp together. We'd spent like the night out camping together while the girls were in the cabin. And so we ended up having a deep conversation till like 1 a.m. And one of the conversations that came up was, life goals and what we want to do with our lives. And I used to be in graduate school here in Logan, Utah, where I live. And my wife and I, for date nights, we'd get a babysitter. And then we would drive around the valley and we would look at all the different amazing houses. We were living in like a one bedroom apartment. And then we drive around, we look at all the houses and we dream of like, man, what would it be like if we just owned this house or this house or this house or whatever. And I was talking to this guy at church. I said, actually, come to think of it, I used to drive by the exact house in the exact neighborhood that I currently live in and dream I would one day live there. And I said, the interesting thing is that I put that out in the world 20 years ago. And now I'm currently living in something that I had dreamed about. And now that I have it, how many times, how many sunsets looking through this amazing window that we look out over up from our bedroom, we can see the sunset every night.
Tyler's got a heck of a view.
It's a beautiful view. Do you know how many sunsets it took before I just started to take it for granted?
Yeah.
Like 5.
Yeah. Every time I go to your house, I just sit and look at it like, holy cow.
It's a really beautiful thing, but what you're talking about is it's called hedonic adaptation. Once you've hit the target, we're already off to the next target.
Right.
And we're causing ourselves pain and suffering. And yet we have built into us to want to improve all of the time. So what you're saying is if we can figure out how to balance gratitude for where we're at, the current space that we're in, the amazing things that we're a part of, it actually helps us to like enjoy life in the moment and actually savor the life we have, while we can still intentionally look towards the future with a process mindset to say, these are some other things that I want to work towards.
Right. Yes. Okay. I want to, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brannon.
I want to kind of give you an example here. So let's say, and kind of walk through this a little bit. So let's say I'm a guy who wants abundance, who wants to create like some wealth and some abundance and success that way. But let's say my bank account is really, really low and I got a lot of debt going on and I'm just not that healthy with that, right? So how do I accept and have gratitude for where I'm at, yet shift into manifesting something different and visualizing a different result in my life?
That's a really good question. So I think part of accepting where we're at is actually coming to the reality of where we're at, and there can be gratitude in that, even if it's painful sometimes. So when I go like step on the scale and see that I'm 25 pounds heavier than I would personally like to be, I have to be able to go, this is the reality of it. And I can actually be grateful for the number on the scale because it's smacking me with reality. And I can say, all right, this isn't where I want to be. This is the reality of the situation. I don't necessarily like where I'm at, but it is where I'm at. And I'm grateful that I'm getting this awareness now. The next step is to then say, what do I currently have the ability to do? Because we always have the ability to do something. And so now I can be grateful for whatever those abilities are. I have the ability to go learn. I have the ability to go take action. I have the ability
Tyler, I want to stop you for a second. I want to ask you a question here.
Mm-hmm.
As you step on that scale and you see the 25 pounds overweight, which, by the way, Tyler's actually in great shape, but as you see the 25 pounds overweight, when you see that number, what do you feel?
The first thing is
Many of you have heard about our in-person retreats. We're really excited about our upcoming Rising Sun retreat. I could talk all day about all the reasons why you should attend, but I'll let those who have attended in the past speak for themselves.
If I had a friend who was contemplating attending this conference, I would say do it. Sign up as soon as you can.
Man, you got to do it. You got to do it. I'll be you guys' advertising arm because I'm going to tell everybody I know about this conference.
Oh man, I would say again, I have nothing but positive things to say about it. So
there's no reason not to come.
Definitely attend.
If you have the means, it would be a mistake not to come.
Do it. You won't be disappointed.
Well, I would say it takes a leap of faith to come to one of these things because you're not going to know what it's going to be coming into it, and it's completely worth it.
Just go for it.
So I would tell that friend that he should definitely come.
It is definitely worth the time, the effort, the money.
If you have any thought whatsoever whether or not you should go, just go.
Even after I signed up, I told my wife I didn't want to come the first day. I was like nervous as all get out. I knew it was going to be uncomfortable, everything about it. But I would look at that person and say, you will never regret.
To help you to know how to find the joy that you're seeking in your life, to do this, take it seriously, and add it to your regimen moving forward. It has been powerful, just incredibly powerful.
If you want to get a better feel for what you might experience and get more information, go to risingsun.org. That's risingsun.org, or find a link in the show notes. Hope to see you in person at the next event.
the first thing is disappointment.
Okay.
And then I go into like this place of like remorse and regret where I'm thinking, well, I ate like a half a pizza and some buffalo wings last night because we had all these friends over, and I can't stay away from like sugar and candy. And so there's this disappointment, and sometimes there's this tendency to want to slide into shame. That's where we get paralyzed, then we get stuck, and then we do the thing you were talking about where I can then go and, because I feel so bad about myself, I'm going to go buy another pizza and eat it tonight and drown my feelings. Right. Or I take that and I go, dang, this isn't where I'd like to be. This doesn't allow me to live the life that I want to live right now. So I need to take a look at that. This is the reality of it. And, I've got a 10 to 12 mile backpacking trip planned in a month and a half.
I think you're missing a piece though.
Okay.
And this is what I think you're missing, which is, I think disappointment, when you look at the results of your life and they're not what you want, I think disappointment is actually an okay emotion to have. Mm-hmm. It's an indicator to you of like, hey, this isn't working for me. But I think before we shift to what do I got to do to change this, that's where a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck in contemplation of change. Yeah, okay, I'll change, but dang it, there's those buffalo wings again, right? Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think what we were talking about earlier, it comes down to belief about self and what you truly see. So if I step on a scale and I'm 5 pounds overweight and I start to have feelings of regret, why do I overeat? Why am I this? Why am I that? Those questions of why am I, right?
Yes.
When I step on the scale and I have a feeling like this might sound a little weird, but wow, I'm a really fit guy with a body that's 25 pounds overweight.
Right.
Right. I'm like I know that I'm the healthy guy. I know that I'm the fit, healthy guy that's working his way toward that. And I'm in the process of that. And look at this. I'm in this process and I got 25 pounds that this fit guy is going to lose because I know I'm that fit guy. Yeah. Do you see the difference in the way I'm thinking here?
Absolutely. So basically the ingrained view of yourself, and this is the thing where it has to balance, is I see myself as the person I'm actually wanting to become, who happens to not quite be meeting that expectation right now. And because of that, I'm going to subconsciously work towards that person I believe that I am. The same way that if I believe I'm not that person, then I subconsciously continue to work towards that same place.
I went and talked to Rex one night. So Rex was like substitute teaching at the time, which is fine. But he had 3 degrees, I think. He was like, had 3 degrees.
He's like an air traffic controller. He's got like a business
an MBA.
degree.
Yeah, this is our brother. And and so I go and I talk to him and I'm like, and he's living kind of with a bunch of guys in a house, just kind of like, it doesn't seem like much is happening in his life. And I learned something from him that night. I went to him and I thought, I was driving home from I think I did 10 hours of therapy that day. And I was worried about our brother. And I'm thinking, I gotta go help him because I'm helping all these other people. I'm gonna go help him. And I sit him down and I in a really kind way, I try to confront him of like, hey, I want better for you. I want you to I want you to have a job that you love. I want you to do stuff in your life. And he turned to me and he said, thanks. I appreciate you coming. I know it's out of love. And I just want you to know that it's all going to work out. I know it's just going to be fine. I know it's just going to happen. And I looked at him and I thought, you dumb A. Just the magic unicorn's going to come down and, poop magic fairy dust on you and voila, woo, it happened. But that's what happened. I kind of watched it happen, Tyler. Right. So he turned to me and he's like, it's good, B. I appreciate your concern. I know that I'm going to have the life that I want and that it's going to happen in my life. And isn't it crazy, Tyler, as I tell this story? Because firsthand kind of what I'm talking about here.
Exactly.
And I believe the reason why he's starting to really get those results in his life is because when he was in that dark place or that place where things weren't going exactly the way that he thought they should, he didn't turn to total shame and rejection of himself in that moment to try to get change to happen. Deep, deep down, he still knew. He still believed. And that belief is what's starting to manifest things in his life now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Brannon. I believe the belief also pushed maybe some of the smaller steps that we can't even describe here that
little
are
things
leading to the outcomes that are now being produced in his life, where because he believed and because he held on to hope and because he was, that was something that was the default setting he was living from, he then started to do some of those little things like going to the gym that didn't seem to produce much, but over time, they actually produced pretty massive results.
Right.
And now what you're seeing is it's like I heard Kevin Hart say one time that he was an overnight sensation that took 25 years to become an overnight sensation.
See, he knew it. He knew it. Yeah.
He knew who he was going to be. He just had to incrementally do the work until finally the things happened to play out the way that they did.
Look at Tyler, look at Steph Curry, right? He had a dad who was a great shooter in the NBA. So he had this role model that was like, yeah, this is what you do. This is how you do it. And so to him, like from your and my vantage point, it's like, yeah, to be an NBA star and change the way basketball's played, that'll never happen. To him, he's like, oh, I just see it and I know that's what I am and I know that's what I'm going to become. And what do you know? Here he is doing it. And he's not like way tall or anything like that, but he's doing it because he knew it in deep down inside.
Yes, exactly. And I maybe want to share a couple of things, Brannon. Like, we're on the heels of putting on this men's retreat we just mentioned at the beginning. We, both of us, had a dream for a long time, basically ever since we started our practices, that we would be putting on these kinds of events, the men's and women's retreats. And there was no way that we were going to be able to do that when we very first started. We didn't have the know-how, we didn't have the clientele.
Right.
But both of us kind of put it out there that was part of the dream. And then some things started to come together where we started to make connections with the right kinds of people. And we started to actually have some success in our practices. And we started to actually really help people. And I remember the very first men's retreat that we put on. It was nothing compared to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
But it felt so amazing to like achieve that standard that we had arrived in some way because we had set that goal several years ago, and all of a sudden here it was manifesting itself. And now, of course, it's just continuing to grow and become even something more. It's like this ongoing, like building amazing thing in our lives.
Right.
But we had to start. It had to start as just a thought.
Yeah.
Just a belief.
Yeah. Yes. Can I off the heels of that, Tyler, I want to teach our audience something that's really, I think, helpful and important with this. And I call them question affirmations. And what they are is they cut through the shame, and you ask yourself questions that you believe, or at least are really, really trying to believe. So let's say, coming back to my example of the poor guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
His affirmation would say, why am I so good at creating? Why is my life so abundant? And so did you hear what I'm doing there?
Yes.
So what will happen when you ask that question in that way, you start to collect evidence of that thing being true. So why am I so good at creating wealth? Well, then he could go, well, I got $10,000 of debt and but that's not where we want him to go with that. Well, I have a drive to work. I'm smart. I'm strategic. I can do all these things. And so then you start to see in the world around you all the things that will come together to create that thing that you want and that you're visualizing, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Another way to say that is, how is it possible that?
Yeah, how is it possible that this is happening right now?
How is it possible that I'm amazingly creative? How is it possible that I can live with abundance? How is it? So now the question is, the brain subconsciously starts to turn itself onto that, and then it looks for those possibilities, even subconsciously,
and starts to pull the energy together to create those things.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So like, Tyler, if you were to do it, let's come back to you stepping on the scale. Like if you were to do it around that, if you were to put a question affirmation around that, what would that look like?
So how is it possible let's see, what was your question?
Don't make it really simple. So if you were to take the 25 pounds overweight when you get on the scale and how you need to change, and if you were to take a question affirmation and just like ask yourself that affirmation every day around your health, around your fitness, what would that look like?
Something like, why is my body a living miracle?
Yeah.
Why am I a specimen of fitness?
Yeah. How is it that I'm so fit?
How is it possible that I experience such good health?
Yeah. Now, are you in denial? Are you in denial there? See, he's laughing. You're laughing because it's hard to do it. It's hard to do it when it goes right against the faulty core belief. Go ahead.
Here's the balancing act is that the question still has to have some fact for the answer to it too, or else it doesn't matter. So the truth is that I'm taking a breath right now. I'm I'm alive, I'm active, I can go do the things that I want to. All of those things are true. What I'm doing is I'm tapping into that part of me that knows that that's all true, and that becomes sort of the motivation now to help me go and continue on with whatever goals or dreams I have.
Right. So you're on the positive. You're looking for evidence of how you're so fit, not evidence of how you're so fat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're on the positive, and Tyler, the reality is when you really stop and look and you get gratitude for your body, you are extremely healthy and fit and doing really well as a physical human being. That's true. That is the truth.
Yes.
And when you ask yourself, how is it that I'm so fit? You kind of start laughing. Those are the question affirmations that you want to find, where they're a little bit uncomfortable, because it's like, wow, that's challenging the thoughts and beliefs that I naturally am collecting all day long, that my shame voice is collecting all day long. That's the question affirmations that you want to find.
And one of the natural answers that will start to come is if I believe that that's true about myself, then my choices start to line up with that belief. So now one of the natural answers that I end up coming to is because I'm the kind of guy who goes hiking every day, because I'm the kind of guy who decided to do some intermittent fasting, and because I value doing these kinds of things that are going to help my health.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so now all of a sudden see myself stepping more and more into those kinds of things.
Right.
So I know we're just about out of time, Brannon, but if it's okay with you, I'm going to read my resolution here just for.
Oh, hey. Yes.
This is for the audience to just be thinking about things. And Brannon, I'd challenge you to think about it too, because I wrote this several years ago, and I don't think I was in a place where I believed all of these things. And I wrote it kind of in the format that the book spells out. So it's kind of in a very straightforward way, but you'll hear a lot of process words in between the stems that I use and such. But I'd like for our audience to be able to take this and think about it and say, if this were seen as setting an intention for the process I'm engaging in, now what you're doing in your recovery is you're looking for something to move towards and work into, instead of just running from whatever problems you've been living with your whole life.
Yes, much better.
Okay. So I'm going to just share this really quickly, and you can break it down and laugh at me over it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to laugh at you.
Okay.
I might sing the song, "We Were Meant to Be Courageous."
All right. So this is mine. I think I edited it like 2 years ago, but I wrote it about 5 years ago. It says, I do solemnly resolve before God to take full responsibility for myself, my wife, and my children. I will love them, protect them, serve them, and lead by example. I will be faithful to my wife, to love and honor her, to provide the emotional intimacy, safety, and support that she needs. I will be engaged in my children's lives and teach them to love God with all of their hearts, all of their minds, and all their strength, and to teach them to seek an intimate personal relationship with Him. I will work diligently to provide for the needs of my family. I will strive to live a life in constant pursuit of authentic connection with God, others, and my own heart. I will strive to cultivate the virtues of charity, integrity, accountability, and humility. I will confront evil, pursue justice, love, mercy, and seek worthy battles to engage in. I will pursue healthy adventure to stretch myself and feed my heart. I will seek to experience, cultivate, and protect beauty in all of its forms. I will pray for others and treat them with kindness, respect, and compassion. I will forgive those who have wronged me and reconcile with those that I have wronged. I will learn from my mistakes, repent of my sins, and walk with integrity. I will seek to honor God by striving to live the life He designed me for and believing Him when He shows me who I really am.
Love it. Can I, go ahead.
Brandon. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm wondering if you could do something for me. Maybe take the first few sentences and just remove the word will.
So I solemnly resolve before God to take full responsibility for myself, my wife, and my children. I love them, protect them, serve them, and lead by example. I am faithful to my wife, to love and honor her, and to provide the emotional intimacy and safety that she needs. I am engaged in my children's lives to teach them to love God with all their hearts, minds, and their strength. It goes on and on. I do work diligently to provide for the needs of my family.
Look at what you just said. I do. Like, so do you see what I'm doing, Tyler? Because that is what you do. That is who you are. And maybe at the time that you wrote that, you didn't feel like that you were there yet, right?
You know what's interesting about that, Brannon, is even just doing that exercise with you right now, I can feel inside myself a different level of conviction.
Yeah.
When I wrote this 5 years ago, I didn't believe all of these things.
Right.
Now that I look at it 5 years later and I'm reading it out loud, especially when I change the words the way I just changed them when you asked me to, there's a part of me that goes, I'm still a work in progress with all of this stuff, but I am much more in line with these things than I was 5 years ago.
Right. Now you take a guy in your group, and if you were to say, don't put the will in there, because the will is kind of like, I hope to be, or I want to be, but actually make a statement about who you are as a dad, as a father, as a husband. That's more vulnerable, and it's scarier. But as you've been doing it, Tyler, you can read that with conviction. When you said, I do provide for my family, like I can hear from you that you believe that now. And because you believe that, you're going to continue to create the things that are in that manifesto. So I loved it, Tyler. That was great. You were meant to be courageous.
That's right. And every single person listening to this podcast was meant to do the same.
Yep. So a mix of gratitude and belief in yourself, and just seeing, I call it nobility, seeing who you really truly are, with all of the shame and lies and all that removed. You're going to create exactly what God wants you to create in your life.
When you take those things and you add in a mindset of continued growth and process, and the world becomes an amazing, beautiful,
changes everything,
place to live.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, thank you. That was a great topic.
You bet.
All right,
thanks, guys.
Thanks. And again, risingsunconference.com if you're interested in our conference. And we hope to see you there. See you guys later.